Well, good evening, good evening, good evening. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Money Mindful Podcast. What? Book Club. Welcome to the Money Mindful Book Club. I'm so used to saying podcast. It's just like on automatic. I am your host, Megan Jean Smith. Tonight we are discussing the book Chasing Cupcakes by Elizabeth Benton. And I also have my very good friend and colleague, Anna Wallner, joining us. I'll bring her on in a few moments. She actually recommended this book to me, and that is the whole reason I discovered this book. Okay, so let me know when you are here. Give me a thumbs up or Nidhi, hi. I'm assuming you can hear me and see me. Nidhi, I'm doing well. I'm pumped full of Nurofen. I don't know if you saw my stories today, but I've been a bit under the weather, but it's all good. Book club. So, where's everyone tuning in from? And are you in your PJs or are you dressed up like me? Are we drinking tea? Have you got a wine? I've got hot water and lemon tonight. Nidhi says she can see me and hear me fine. Thanks, Nidhi, for letting me know. Yeah, tell me where you are and what you're drinking and what you're wearing. One of these days, maybe I will go live in my PJs, but maybe not. I like getting dressed up for you guys. All right. So now that I can see that there's a few more people joining in, I'll just let you know. Say hi in the comments because I can't see who you are or who's here unless you say something. Nidhi says, I just finished dinner and tucked in bed in PJs with a bowl of water. Oh, so good, Nidhi. Leslie says, I have water and comfy clothes. Yay. All right. Hello, Laurel. Ghastly looking green drink, but it tastes great. For those of you who don't know, Laurel is actually my mum, and she does drink ghastly green drinks. But you know what, Laurel? It is matching our little banner tonight, so you're in good company. Susie, Susie, hi, welcome. Susie's tuning in from Sweden with a good cup of coffee, and she's looking forward to listening to both Anna and I, who I will bring on. This is a good time to bring you on, Anna, I think. So Anna is also a coach like me, and she is a very good friend of mine. We speak nearly every day, and she actually introduced me to this book, Chasing Cupcakes. So I'm really excited to have her here tonight with us because I know she loves the book as much as I do, and we'll be able to share a lot of amazing insights. So Anna, I'm going to bring you on. Let's get fancy and let's go like this. There we go. Welcome.
Ooh, thank you. So great to be here.
I know. We're so international. Anna is in Sweden, everybody. I'm here in Australia. This is how we roll in book club. Anna, do you want to introduce yourself for those who are joining in who don't know you or don't know anything about you apart from that you're my good friend?
Yeah, that's obviously the best part of me. No, well, I'm a coach certified with the Life Coach School, just as Megan is. And I specialize in helping women live the life they want to live. And I have completely changed my life with the help of a coach. So, yeah, I just love it. It's the best ever. Best ever.
And how did you find out about this book, Anna?
Ooh, it was actually through my weight coach. Not strange, maybe. So she really recommended it. And I also loved the title. I was like, chasing cupcakes. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah. All right. So let's get into it. Who has read the book? Let us know who has actually read the book, because I know that sometimes we have people joining in who haven't read it, which is, we're okay about that, guys. You are totally welcome. But it's good to know who's actually read it and who hasn't. So let me know if you have read it. And I'm looking at the comments. It always takes a little bit of time to come in. So while we're waiting, I want to say, and Anna, Nidhi says welcome. Nidhi is the all-time #1 book club member. She has been here for every book club. So yeah, you're in good hands, Anna, with
good.
Nidhi here. Okay, let's have a look. Margot, hey, Margot. Okay, Margot says, I've listened to the audiobook, loved it. I think I will buy the hard copy so I can highlight the crap out of it. Yeah, yeah. So at the back, as you would know, Margot, and for those of you who haven't read the book, there is an amazing resource of questions, which we'll tap into as we go through tonight. But let's talk about why we love this book. Like, why do you love it, Anna?
Oh, seriously, I love everything about it. I think what I love most, I'm sitting here with my coffee, is that she is so like, this is how you change. This is how you do it. And since she's also into like, okay, if you change your thoughts, you will actually change how you feel. And if you feel differently, you will act differently. So she's on the same page with like what we do. But she also gives you questions to ask yourself in particular situations. So when you're feeling overwhelmed and you're turning to food or turning to shopping or whatever it is you turn to, she has good questions for you to sort of have at hand and ask yourself, which I think is so good. So good.
Yeah, that's what I love too. And when I interviewed Elizabeth on the podcast recently, if you haven't checked that out, go and check that out, ladies. It's a really great interview with her. She talks about that there's this theme of mindset, like change your mindset. And I talk about it all the time, like on the podcast, your money mindset. And but what is mindset, and how do you change it? And she talks on the podcast about it's the way that we think. It's becoming a good thinker and becoming a better thinker. Well, I mean, that's what this book is about, becoming a better thinker. But by changing your thinking, you're changing your mindset. And she outlines in the book that the way that you can do that, one amazing way that you can do that, is just ask yourself really good quality questions, right? Because when we ask ourselves questions, then our brain is like, oh, I hadn't thought of it like that. And we start looking at it in a different way.
And what I love about it is that she makes it so simple. She has, I mean, as you say, in the end, she has like, I don't know how many questions it is. It's so many questions that you can ask yourself. But there is one question that is so easy, where it doesn't really matter where you are. It's like, okay, so what is the best next thing I could do in this situation? And I think that's so, I mean, the simplicity of it is just amazing. It's just like, yeah, what's the next best thing?
Yeah, because that applies if it's a money situation. So, you're thinking about, should I spend this money or should I not spend this money, or whatever it is, like you're out shopping or something. And then it's like, well, what's the next best thing for me to do now? And even with a goal that you're working towards, like you want to buy a house or whatever it is. Well, what's the next best thing for me now? You want to lose 5 kilograms. What's the best next thing for me now? Yeah. I mean, it seems so obvious and simple when you say it like that, but we need these questions.
Yeah.
All right.
It's so good.
I'm looking at the comments, Anna. I don't know if you can see them. Can you
Yeah,
see them?
I can. They're popping up at the end. Or
Okay, amazing. So, Susie, so great to see you, and great to have you here as well. Thank you for your beautiful comments. Leslie says, using the power of your brain instead of the intensity of your emotions. Yeah, yes, and reacting to our emotions. Nidhi says, I love that question. And Susie hasn't read it yet, but she's listened to the podcast. Yeah. Definitely order that one, Susie, because it does have so many good questions. And I'm sure Anna has talked to you about it before. So, all right, we could bang on about how much we love the book all night, but let's get into the meat of it. So we wrote some notes for you guys, what we're going to talk about. I always do this because, as you know, I get excited and carried away. And so one of the things that we talked about, Anna, was that in the book, it's page 101 for those of you who are following along at home. One of the main themes was entertaining the problem instead of the solution. And she says, what does she say? It's very hard to grow because it's difficult to let go of the models of ourselves in which we have invested so heavily. Do you want to talk to that a little bit, Anna?
Yeah, well, I think that's what we help people do all the time, because we have this soundtrack that tells us this is the person you are, it's been like this, or you are like this. And we're so invested in this person we think we are. So we have a problem letting her or him go to become the person we actually want to be, that I would consider actually is the solution to the problem. So say if we want to not spend so much money, or if we want to lose weight, whatever. And we're like, oh, I've never been able to save money before. And yeah, I'm not really good with money. And entertaining that story is just participating in the problem instead of turning around and actually focusing on the solution. Okay, never mind what you've been doing. Focus on what you want to do, because that is actually where you're going. You're not going back. You're going forward, hopefully. So focus on where you want to go. Focus on the solution. And I think if it was in this book or if I read it somewhere else, I can't be sure. But it says like, okay, if you bring the attention to the problem more than twice, you're just looking for pity and drama.
It's in this book. It is in this book. It does say that. And I think like we mean that I'm nodding my head, but I mean, I do that, but it's like we mean it in the nicest way, but our brain gets so like, I feel like I have this whole drag show going on in my head, like this like it's like drama. And, you know, it's not until like either I coach myself or ask one of these amazing questions from this book, like what's the next best thing to do? It's like, oh yeah, okay, just settle down, brain. Like what's the next best thing to do and focus on that.
Yeah.
Like the simplicity, it's almost like, really, is it that easy? And it is, right?
Yeah, but it's like our brain, or I wouldn't say all of our brains, because I can't speak for everyone, but a lot of the brains that I meet are complete perfectionists. And I for sure used to be. I'm much better now. I'm recovering, but I'm not there yet. But it's like they paint this picture. It's like, oh, you should be like this. And if you can't be like this, then you failed.
Yeah. Annalie says, hi there. One more from Sweden. Oh, well, I probably butchered your name there then. Sorry if that's the case. I haven't read it, but I'm looking forward to it. So good. So good.
Love my girls from Sweden.
Yay.
Hi,
yay.
my girls.
I just lost my train of thought there. What was I going to say?
Sorry.
No, that's okay. I just got totally...
We were talking about participating in the problem.
Yes. Okay. So we need to... that's what I was going to say. Should. The word should. I think that's something that comes up a lot when we're focusing on the problem. Like, oh, I should have been better at that. Or I shouldn't have been so embarrassed, or I should have felt more confident, or I should have done it this way, or I should have done it that way. That's a very much problem-orientated way of thinking. And I see that come up a lot with my clients and myself with my own brain, in that, again, it's like, well, what's the next best thing I could do here? Right? And completely shifting you away. I mean, listen, that's not the only question in the book, by the way. There's hundreds of questions. But that's
just a very good question.
Yeah. So then we sort of moved on to talk about the power of stories, and be careful of the words you speak because they become the house you live in. And this is kind of building on this idea that we're talking about, how there's a soundtrack. And I've just actually bought another book, which you've read, Anna.
Called Soundtrack.
And I haven't started.
Amazing.
Okay, well, I haven't started reading it yet, but there's a little tip for you guys. Who's the author? John
Acuff.
John Acuff. Yeah. So, I just know this information because of what I've read about the book, but he talks about this whole concept of a soundtrack, right? Where we have a soundtrack about all different aspects of our life. I think we can have a soundtrack about who we think we are as a person, like, oh, I'm this kind of person, or I'm that kind of person. Like, I've always just been overweight. Like, that's a soundtrack, right? Or I've never been good with money. That is a sound. Like, if that's something that you've just thought your whole life, that is like the record player I'm showing my age here, the record player in your brain. We actually have a record player, by the way. I love records.
Well, I do too. We have it in the kitchen.
So it just goes round and round and round. And we need a trigger. It's like a trigger to lift the needle and change the soundtrack. And it's totally available to us. And I think this is why we were just so all over this book, Anna. And for those of you listening, it's because there's so many ways illustrated in this book to change the soundtrack. Just in the questions that she asks and the stories that she tells about how we can literally do it in our life. So we're not playing that same old soundtrack, because we play the soundtrack and then we believe the soundtrack. Like, we think that soundtrack is the only record available, the only record on the shelf. And then when we ask ourselves these questions, like, well, what's the next best thing I could do? Or could I look at this situation differently? Or is it possible to think about this differently? Is it possible I could be wrong about this? I mean, so many different questions. And then suddenly it widens us back, and it's like we take a step back from the record player, and suddenly we see there's like this whole bookshelf of records that we could choose from. And we're not limited to this one that we're playing.
Yeah, for sure. And what I also think is so good that she talks about when it comes to the soundtracks is that normally we just walk around listening to this soundtrack and believing it.
Yeah.
But instead of being the person that just listens and takes everything that comes up for granted, because seriously, our brains are completely fucked up sometimes, excuse my language. But instead of listening, actually talking to ourselves and talking. It sounds strange to talk to your brain, but it's like you don't need to listen so much. You can change your soundtrack by talking to yourself and not believing just everything your brain serves up to you.
Yeah. Nidhi says rewire our brain. Yeah, it's exactly that, Nidhi. I mean, like however you look at it, whatever language you use to talk about it, that is exactly what you're doing. It's rewiring your brain. Leslie, I'm curious, because I know that we've talked outside of book club. Why, what is it that you love about this book? Like, what stood out in particular, particularly to you? I'm curious about that, because I know that you've like really told me that you love this book, and I'm curious if it's for the same reasons, like the questions and so forth, if you've applied it in a different way that we're not talking about it. Yeah, so she asked some great questions on page 100. What was it? It was
what's in the way.
What's in the way? So about a particular circumstance, what's making this hard? What's the resistance to this change? And what can I do about it? Yeah. And I think what's making this hard part is, generally I wouldn't tend to ask myself questions like that, but in this case I think it's a way to show what the obstacles are, that then you can then get over those them. Like once you know. Leslie, I'm just going to go back to what so she said, I tend to keep learning instead of moving into action. Okay. All right, look, you just said this to two coaches, so I'm just going to tell you that this is like so typical, Leslie. So like everybody does this, because I'm going to tell you right now, this is like just some free coaching for you, if that's okay, that it's safer to learn, like consuming and learning things, which I, by the way, am right there with you. I love learning things, hence why I have about 6 books on my nightstand ready to go. And, courses, online courses, all that stuff. And nothing wrong with that. They're so great. Like, it's so great to learn. But yes, when we take action, that's when we put ourselves out there. That's when we expose ourselves to failure and feeling all the negative emotion that comes with stepping outside of our comfort zone. And that's why so many of us like to roll around in learning, because it's so much safer. I'm curious what you think of that. Leslie. Leslie says, Elizabeth helps me step into action. Yes.
And I think, if I can butt in, I think that's one of the reasons is because the book is so practical. It's like, okay, you're having this problem, then ask yourself this and see if you can move through the problem.
Yeah. Yes, 100%. Leslie says, I'm also a huge Brooke Castillo fan. Brooke is the founder of the Life Coach School, where Anna and I are both certified, for those of you who aren't in the know. So yeah, we love Brooke. She's a great coach. Okay, so where do I need to focus if I want to change? I love this question, right? Where do I need to focus if I want to change? And I'm just thinking of, like if you're changing careers, for instance, and it's normal to be, fearful, right? Like when you're changing or doing something new, and we often look at what we don't know, or what the bad things that might happen, or what we're missing out on. But I think this is a beautiful question. Like, where do I need to focus if I want to change? Because if we want to actually change and make the change and move forward into that change, then we want to be focused on that, right? Leslie says,
sorry,
go on. Oh, okay. Leslie says, action first, emotions will follow. Well, Leslie, in some cases, but actually it's our emotions that drive the way that we behave, right? Because if we're feeling negative emotion, for instance, like discouraged or shame or fear or worry, generally that doesn't drive action. We don't tend to take action when we feel those feelings, or overwhelm. Whereas when we feel feelings of excitement or motivated or determined or driven, then they generate action. What were you going to say, Anna?
Yeah, well, I have a comment on that as well, to Leslie's action first, emotions will follow, because I often talk about running against the wind. So, of course, you can act against your feelings, but it will take a heck of a lot of energy to do that. And if you, like Leslie say, you actually take action when emotions follow, I would say what you've done then is create a result that you can look at that will make you motivated to continue. But what actually happens is that you start to act against your feeling. You're running against the wind. But then when you see the result you create, then you look at the result, you change your thought, and then you start feeling motivated. So it's a little bit of a mind trick, because sometimes when you keep running against the wind, so to speak, and you're acting against your emotions, after a while, the energy will run out and you will go like, fuck this shit. I won't do this. No, but I mean, an example is if you, if you're actually going to try to start running again, if you've been a runner and you want to run again, and every time you're going to go out to run, you feel like, oh, you're probably not going to keep it up for so long. If you can't shift your thoughts when you've been out running and you can see that you're gaining momentum, or you think that you're gaining momentum, you can look at that result and go like, I rock. And then you feel motivated and triggered, and then you will keep on doing it. But I would say you need to create a result and change your thought about the result, so you will change your feeling to be able to continue doing that. Because acting against your emotions for eternity it won't work, but it can work as a starting point for you to change what you think. Yes, for sure.
This leads beautifully into, sorry, I don't want to cough on everyone. There's page 181 is a little sort of sub chapter, and it says smoke or fire. And Elizabeth says, let's talk about you and your goal. Right now, you're likely pursuing an external goal because you think it will help you hit an internal target. So she talks about weight in the book. For example, it's like you might want to get to X amount of kilograms because you think when you get to X amount of kilograms, whatever that is, that you're going to feel great about your life, and that suddenly you're going to get that job, and that you're never going to have any problems again. Right? Like this is what we think. It's exactly the same with money. You know, like we think when we earn a certain amount of money that our life is going to be just amazing and we're never going to have any problems or feel any negative emotion, or our kids are never going to be annoying again because like we're earning X amount of dollars, right? It's total fantasy. It's not the case. Like, doesn't matter. We still experience the positive and the negative. But this illustration of what she talks about in the book is beautiful. And bear with me because I don't want to have to read the whole thing for you. So, okay, so she gives the example of weight loss. This often looks like pursuing weight loss because you think it will make you happier or more confident, or pursuing debt reduction because you think it will make you less stressed. They are both external goals. Happiness, confidence, and peace of mind are internal goals. And then she uses this analogy of smoke or fire. So overspending is rarely about the material things people collect. Spending is often a symptom of an internal problem like anxiety or loneliness. Spending can be a way of creating a moment of pleasure and confusing it with happiness. And then she talks about how, do you want to explain this, Anna? Because you did it so beautifully, or should I keep going? Yeah.
No, but okay. So we have the smoke and we have the fire. And very often we try to solve for the smoke. So the smoke could be the overweight or the overweight that you think you have. So you try
the external problem.
Exactly. Yeah. The external things. So you have your perceived overweight. That's the smoke. But you're trying to solve for the smoke because you think it will actually solve for your internal problem, which is actually causing the smoke. So the internal problem could be that you have low self-esteem, or you're stressed out all the time, or some other type of feeling that is driving you to overeat. So the fire is the inside. How do you feel? Because how you feel will then cause you to, in this case, or this example, overeating. And then you will create the smoke, which is the overweight, or in your case, what you think is overweight. So internal fire, your self-esteem or whatever might be the root of the problem. And then the smoke is what you think is actually the problem, which is the overweight. So you think if you solve for the overweight, you will be happy. But the problem is you can be really skinny and you can still feel like crap.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with it. So that's what I think is it's a super good picture with the fire and the smoke.
Yeah, and such a good example. I love her analogies. She also brings up she uses another great analogy with fear and danger. So that danger is actually danger, like in terms of we're about to get hit by a car, or there's somebody chasing us, or we're actually in a dangerous situation. Whereas fear, which stops so many of us from moving forward, doing the things that we want to do. Fear is just a perception of danger, but it's actually just.
Yeah, it's the anticipation of danger. So fear is what you feel when you think danger is coming. Danger can be coming or danger can not be coming. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have anything to do with your fear.
Yeah, but in the modern world, like so many things that we're afraid to do, they're not things that are actually dangerous.
No.
Right? Like changing our job or doing a Facebook Live, and these things, we can be terrified. We can feel so afraid, and because we think that feeling of fear means danger. And I thought that was such a excellent thing that she brought up in the book, because for me, it just cracks open straight away. It's like, yeah, all those things that you're afraid to do. I mean, I don't know anyone who feels fear because actually something's really happening that is life-threatening. I mean, apart from like if they're talking about, we were in a car and there was a truck coming towards us, and yes. But a lot of the time when I hear people talk about fear, or myself, it's really something where we just perceive that something like, I'm going to die because I have to do a presentation at work. But it's not actually real danger. It's just an emotion in our body. And I think that is, she illustrates that so well. Where did we write that down? I'm having a look at my notes, Anna, because I think
but also when it comes to the fear, what I think is interesting is that when fear and danger, or when fear comes because of danger, there is actually a purpose to the feeling, because then it will make you act. It's the classic flight or fright. Yeah. You will flee or you will fight. Flight or fight. So then it's actually, it fills a purpose. But fear without the immediate danger doesn't help you. It will just keep you from doing what you actually want to do normally, because you want to grow. But we are scared when it comes to growing because we don't know what's on the other side. And when in that case, fear is completely useless.
Yeah. And I've brought this example up so many times because it makes sense. You can relate to it. Like, I felt scared the very first time I did book club. I wasn't like so scared, like terrified in my boots, but I was scared. I was scared to do it. I thought, what's going to happen? I could die, all that stuff. But that's what happens. And then imagine if I hadn't have done book club because I wasn't willing to feel that fear. And that's what so many people do. Including myself, in the past. It's not like you're not wrong if you've done that, but this is why it's so great to be aware of it, because it can hold us back from what we want to do in life, even with small things like this, like, doing a book club. We're focused on what we're not going to get, like the bad that's going to happen, as opposed to all the amazing things that can come out of it. And fear is, I don't want to say a sign that it's a green light, because I think that we feel fear for a reason in terms of giving ourselves a signal. But sometimes it's like, if you do feel afraid of something, I think it's great to have good questions about, am I just afraid because this is normal? I'm expanding my life. Like, I'm moving forward with my life, or opening up more areas that I've never been in. And so this feeling of fear is just normal and not a sign that anything's gone wrong.
I think that's so good, because my first coach, she used to say something that I thought was hilarious. When you're in that energy of being scared and feeling fear, but you're still like pursuing something, you're pushing your comfort zone. She was like, that's the best sign ever. Welcome to the barf club. It's, because if it feels like you're going to puke, but you're pushing forward, you're doing it for yourself, then it's a good sign. So I must say that personally, when it comes, of course, not when it comes to fear as in immediate danger, children, cars, whatever, but when it comes to growth, what used to hold me back is now actually my green light, just like you talk about. When I feel like I want to throw up, I'm like, then we know we're doing it right. Good stuff. So I think it's wonderful.
Yeah. So I think it would be good to talk about, as we sort of wind this up, is what I want to find out from who's read the book, what your biggest takeaway is, or what your biggest takeaway is from tonight, if you haven't. And I'll share mine first to give you a chance to respond. What I found from the book, which we hadn't mentioned yet, was that she talks about that we don't get to a destination. Like, with this work, we're becoming better thinkers. And we're becoming better thinkers so we can create just new results in our life. Like, they're not better, they're not worse, they're new results that we want, and we do that by becoming better thinkers to move us forward. And I heard this analogy once from someone else, and I'm not sure if she gave this analogy or not. It's in my notes, but it's like brushing your teeth. You know, you brush your teeth in the morning, and it's not like you don't brush them the next day because you've already brushed them. Like, oh yeah, I've just brushed them once and that's it. We're good here, right? Like, it's an ongoing thing. We're never going to get to a destination of our teeth are clean and that's it. We're good. We don't need to do anything. Like, this is life. Like, our life is like our teeth. We've got to like continuously, well, our brain is like our teeth. It's like we've got to continuously clean our brain by asking ourselves these amazing questions that are in this book, or, you know, coaching yourself, having a coach, all these things. There's all different ways that you can do that, but cleaning your brain on a regular basis and directing it where you want it to go. And yeah, being in the driver's seat as opposed to just being like, oh, why can't I do what I want to do in my life? Like, why are my teeth so dirty? It's like, because you're not cleaning them, mate. You got to clean them more than once in your life, right? We're doing it on the daily. And that's what I think this book is perfect for. It's like like these questions we can ask ourselves every day to move forward with what we want. Anna, I'm going to read maybe one of the comments, and do you want to and then say, so Leslie says she's got to go. Okay. Mwah. Bye, Leslie. Margot says, I loved the concept of sustained maximum effort and practicing butt power. I can't remember that bit in the book. Do you remember that, Anna?
Yeah. I think so.
Tell me about that bit. Do you remember?
Yeah, well, when it comes to maximum effort, she's like, okay, so what is the maximum effort I can do right now? Because sometimes it isn't that much, but you can always do something. So it sort of depends a little bit. And maybe, Margot, you have to tell me if I'm wrong here, but when it comes to butt power, as far as I understood, or as far as I remember, she's like, sometimes you just need to sit down and don't react. Like, sit your butt down. You don't have to do what you feel like you need to do. That's how I remember it, but I can be off.
Yeah. So what was the other thing? And then she talked about, I think, which relates to this, Margot, is that is there one more thing I can, or is there what's one thing I can do now to like keep that, I don't know if she used the word momentum, but just, hang on. Margot says,
yeah, Margot's replying.
She talks about giving it 2 weeks of the sustained maximum effort and then see how it changes your life. Yes, yeah. Butt power was about sitting with the problem. And Laurel says, buying the book now. It is such a good book. It really is. Yeah. So what about you, Anna? What's your biggest takeaway?
Well, like we talked about, it's all the practical things. I mean, I've highlighted the hell out of this book.
Yeah.
Because it's so full of things. Every page, it's just like, oh, and this and this and this. And I think my biggest takeaway is the thing that we repeat over and over and over again. It's like, focus on the solution. Focus on the solution. Because we don't do that as default. We focus on the problem. And even though we don't think we do that, we just think that we are reporting the news, like this is the way it is. Yeah, but it's no point spinning in that. Focus on where you're going. Focus on the change. Focus on the solution. And when it comes to this future focus, that's something I work a lot with personally. And it's also something that makes me excited every day because I try to shift my focus to the solution. It's not like my life is a problem. It's not that. But I'm trying to shift my focus with intent I'm like, this is where we're going, brain. This is what we're creating. This is what we're spending our time with. So to get that practical things and the questions to explore where we're going and how we can explore the solution, whatever that might look like, I think that's my biggest, for sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, we are going to wrap up now. Can you stay, Anna? Are you going to stay with us while I say goodbye and everything?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. So, I just want to say, let you guys know that I'm going to be putting book club on pause, possibly indefinitely. My business is expanding, and I really want to give my attention to new things that I want to create in my business for my clients and in areas of my business. So I'm going to put book club on pause. I know I already told you guys we weren't going to do it next month, but I just need to give myself that time. And I also want to be really clear that I absolutely love book club, and I'm not saying that it's not coming back because I sort of, I get so much out of these sessions with you and reading the books, and I certainly want to share. And so one of the books that I had planned that I was in my mind that I would do next on book club, I'm going to tell you about it, is The Power. Sorry, that's really bright, isn't it? It's called The Power of Receiving. Hang on, let me do it like that. And it's by Amanda Owen. And this book, guys, has blown my mind. I've been applying what is in this book in my life, and I think it's incredible. So I wanted to give you that recommendation because that was what I had lined up next. I will let you know in all my communications everywhere. I mean, email is the best place to stay in contact with me, and on Instagram, if I pick book club up again in the future, but I need this time to put into other projects that I want to work on. So before we finish, I just really want to say a heartfelt thank you. Thank you for being here with me on these evenings. I really, really value your time, and I value you being with me, sharing about what we've learned in these books. And also, I really value you just as a human, wanting to just live your best life and do things that invoke that and create that for you. And so thank you. I kind of could go on and on, but this has been so special to me to be here on book club with you. And as Anna, my friend, knows, I've really deliberated over this because it is something that I get a lot out of, and that I love being here with you. But I'm just going to take a pause, and we'll see what happens. And if I pick it up in the future, amazing. And I'll, of course, let you all know. And if I don't, it's also amazing because I'll let you also all know about the really cool things that I'm creating in my business, which light me up. And I really want to spend that time doing those things. So, yeah. And thank you, Anna, for being here tonight. I'm so glad that you were here tonight.
So much fun.
To talk about this book and just be here. So I'm just going to take 1 minute to quickly look at the comments. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Yes. And Nidhi. Oh my gosh, Nidhi. Thank you. All right. So that's it, everyone. Thank you very much for being here tonight. Mwah. Stay in touch. Be on my email list. Follow me on Instagram. I actually just changed my Instagram name to Megan J. Smith. So if you're confused, that's what's just happened today. But stay connected. I'm connected to you always, and I'll always be sharing what I'm reading. Mwah. Bye-bye.